Hey Ben, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Nick?
Yeah, not too bad. How you coping with this lockdown?
Well, it's locked down, unfortunately, with a lot of things that you can do, but it gives me some opportunity to spend some time with the family too.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. Ben, so I just wanted to do a quick Q&A with you today, just so some of our recruits that we work with, just so they can learn a little bit more about what you look for from a recruit, and basically just answer a few questions that they might be unsure about. So first question I'd ask you, Ben, what would you recommend to any recruit that is just starting the process?
Probably the biggest thing is to be patient with it all. There's a lot of college programs at different levels that all offer extremely good opportunities. The big thing as well is doing your research when you're talking to these coaches, when you're talking to these programs. Instead of sending out mass emails, I would go ahead and make them more personal to coaches. Yep. I know from me as a coach, I like to be able to respond with an athlete that I've seen has done their research and they know a little bit about the university, a little bit about the program, some of the stories that go along it. So it's got to be a 50-50 investment.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Second question. You just run us through typically how you'd recruit a player and the ideal timeline for you.
See, with my program, I'm a little later than normal. I'm trying to find more so along the lines of the late bloomers, the ones that didn't get picked up on in the early recruiting phase. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of, from my standpoint, being patient, trying to find the right kids at the right point in the season, and even to this point in late March, early April, my recruiting class is still not complete for 2020. So, okay. As I said, it's me being patient and keeping a lookout for some people that maybe go under the radar a little bit, and again, are still looking for a place to play.
Yeah, of course. Okay, perfect. Obviously, you're coaching at NAIA. What would you say is the main difference between the NAIA and the NCAA in terms of the universities and the actual golf level as well?
Well, there's a few differences, a few similarities. One of the big similarities is, especially the top higher, there's a lot of good golfers. Again, I don't believe get given quite the amount of credit that they deserve. Yeah. I've been coaching in it for 8 years, but also was at the Division I level, and see, as I said, a lot of similarities. There's a lot of programs, regardless of what division they're in, that have extremely good access to very, very good golf courses. You've got great facilities, great schedules. You play good golf courses. The beautiful thing about golf is you're not restricted to stay within your division during the regular season. Yeah. So you can go and compete against your D2, your Division Ones, Division Threes, junior college teams, and again, kind of see where you stack up from that. Also, from a school standpoint, my school's underneath a system, so there are a lot of high-end Division I schools that are also in our systems from an academic. So they match up along those lines too.
Yeah, of course. That leads me on to the next question. I was going to ask you, how important are academics to you as a coach?
Academics are obviously extremely important, because I mean the main thing about it is a golfer is not going to perform at their best if they're having to worry about their academics. So if you take care of the academic side of things, then obviously the golf should be able to take care of itself too, and you're able to put the focus that you need to be a great golfer.
Yeah, of course. When you do a recruiting call with an athlete, especially an international athlete, what are the main things you're looking for from them, and what could they do that would potentially turn you off on that phone call?
Well, there's a few things that turn me on. I mean, again, the biggest thing I'm looking actually at on a call is their personality. Mm-hmm. I don't want someone trying to impress me. I just want to see them.
Yeah.
And again, then it's my job to judge, to see whether that personality would fit into my program, and that sometimes as well, people and athletes take that personally, and it's nothing to do with them personal. It's just, as coaches, our job is to fit into your program, yeah. and unfortunately, not every kid fits that mold.
No, of course. How early would you suggest that a player takes the SAT?
As early as they can. Take it as multiple times. Take it as many times, because the SAT, especially for international people is not a typical test. So just taking it once isn't. You're not going to get your best score the first time you take it.
No.
Is probably my best advice to athletes looking to come over to the States. You're better off taking it multiple times, and as well as sometimes you can superset these for institutions too.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. And how likely would you be to make an offer to a player that hasn't taken the SAT or the TOEFL?
Well, the problem it's very, very difficult because of our international student requirements for me to even offer someone like that, because again, I don't even know at that point whether I can get them into school.
Of course.
So it's very hard for me to tie up an offer on a player that I don't even know. I can't guarantee I'm getting into school at that point.
Yeah. No. Of course. If you was to make an offer to a player, typically how long would you give them to give you a decision before you move on to another player?
Well, to me, sometimes international and domestic are a little bit different. Because especially with a lot of these domestic players that can come and actually visit the campus, I kind of give them a little bit of a longer time frame, because I feel like our facilities are a little bit more comparable with some of the bigger schools.
Yeah.
So I like recruits to go and see what other schools have had, so they have something to compare us with. International players, obviously, a little shorter, maybe, depending on the time of the year, 2-3 weeks to a month. Just again, depending on where I am at that point in my recruiting process. And normally I'm pretty upfront with where I am based on how many players I'm trying to bring in and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course. Okay, perfect. Besides sport and academics, is there anything else that you look for from a student athlete?
Obviously, again, chemistry. What kind of? Obviously, I want a good teammate. I want someone that isn't all about them. It's about the bigger picture. And obviously, again, my job is to help each individual reach their potential, but ultimately, again, to do it as a team. So there's more along the lines of a bigger picture, and again, trying to get these players to buy into something like that.
Okay. And when you do recruit a player, how does the timeline typically look for you? So when would you start talking to them? What are you looking for them to do along the process?
I mean, I like to start trying to figure out kids 2 years in advance, but unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way. So, I mean, the 2-year time frame is a good starting point. But as I told you, I mean, there's players in late March that I'm speaking to that I've only just been speaking to for a month. Yeah. So there is a lot of variation depending on those aspects.
Perfect. The last question I want to ask you, Ben. What would be your one piece of advice to anyone that's just starting the process or thinking about coming out to college in America? What would be your one piece of advice for them?
Probably the biggest thing is as well, go in there open-minded. Mm-hmm. Don't go set on division or location, whatnot. There's so many great programs all over the country.
Yeah.
That you've got to make sure it's the right fit for you as a student athlete, because ultimately, again, it's if you're never going to get better if you don't play somewhere. Yep. So go in if you're in too deep in a program that you're not playing, it's not going to help you. If you're not at a program that's quite good enough and it's not challenging you, you've got to find that happy medium and keeping your mind open. There's multiple places you can look for that.
Yeah, no, of course. All right, Ben, perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. I hope that's answered a few questions for some of our recruits and makes things a little bit easier for them. Yeah, I guess we'll speak soon. You stay safe and we'll be in touch.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nick.
Cheers, Ben. See you, mate.